Hello, everybody, and welcome to 3D Animation with Blender and Scene Creation Masterclass, Week 1. Thanks again for joining us. We have a great multi-part workshop here. Leon, who's been doing our 3D animation and Blender workshops that many of you have joined with us before, he will be the artist behind this session. So really excited to have him on board to take us through this next phase of how do we create a scene with the software. So it's really great. So again, Blender, totally free software. You just need to go to the blender.org site and download it there. You can put it on your desktop. There's a donation button too, so you can always help out the creators and the programmers with that if you feel it's a great program. So it doesn't hurt to do too, but totally free. Mac OS, Windows OS, and Linux, it says. So yeah, so you can, any computer OS that you're using, feel free to download it. You can follow along. And this session you can rewatch once we're done as well. So that's the beauty of it. So it's archived and then you can rewatch it. So don't feel worried if you need to take notes or anything. You can rewatch it and then take notes then. So enjoy, and let me pass it over to Leon. Here we go.
All right, thanks, Tom. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Blender Workshop Part 2, or Part 5, whichever that is. This time, we are going to create a more complete scene, and to get, as you see on my screen here, that I created something really quickly to start like a building, just easy. Everything here is an easy objects to create. And for the tree, that's like a simple add-on that I can share to you once we get there. So yeah, without further ado, and we'll start working. And well, depending on how fast things are going, either today and maybe sometimes the next workshop, we're going to model the scene, and then maybe like on the third and fourth, we're going to texture it and light it, and get the final image rendered. So yeah, let's start working on this scene here. So as you can see over here, everything here, the object looks complicated, but is actually not, because again, I choose everything into a more basic shape. So if you watch the previous workshop, you should understand a little bit how to start with Blender, and everything here that we're creating today. The next workshop is a continuation from everything that you learned from the previous workshop. All right, so let's create a new folder. A new scene. And I generally choose a general. And so I'll save this one. Okay, so this is the what do you call it again? A normal news scene. Before that, let me open this. So let's have that on the left. Perfect. So what I do is over here on the left, bottom left here is shortcut keys keys that I'm pressing. So if you're wondering what exactly I'm using the shortcut keys, and you can see it on the left side here. And if you're still not catching it or you missed it, you can always send me a text or an email and ask me specific shortcut keys that work, that I use for this. All right, so we got a camera, we got a lights, we got a cube, a default objects here. So first thing we do is we just want to select the camera and the lighting, and we just want to hide it. Okay, so that's gone. We hide it, and because we're creating a building, so we want to keep this cube, and then we want to resize that cube into a bigger one. And I'm gonna go to the orthographic. I'm gonna scale it as Z, scale and Y to have that. Scale in X a bit bigger. Go to the top view. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, so we have the basic for our building. Maybe I'm gonna make it a little bit taller. Oh, okay. So before I continue on with modeling this, since I already modeled it before, I have a basic idea of how I want it to be. But generally what I do before I start modeling anything or creating anything on Blender, I like to look for reference and what the scenes that I like to do. So like how the buildings look like, or how the trees, how the street, the lamps, and everything that you needed for your scenes, what you're going to model. I suggest that you look for reference, especially in Google Images. You get a lot of them, and I have two monitors. So on the other monitors, usually I have a bunch of other reference pictures that I use to reference my modeling, so I can create it without depending on my memory. Because sometimes you think you know something, you remember how to do something, or remember like how it looks like, but usually your memory is not remembering every detail in an object. So it's always good to have that reference pictures. And once I have all the reference pictures, I usually just create small thumbnails on Photoshops or on papers. It doesn't matter. It's just to give an idea of how the scenes will look like. Now, it's not necessary to do it, right? I do it sometimes, I do it some other times I don't, depending on how clear the direction is in my head. But if I'm still a little bit vague of what I want to create, I usually just jot it down on a piece of paper and just make a small thumbnails and to see how the angle is going to look like, and like what buildings, what materials, objects that I want to use in the modeling. So that said, that's always the first steps that I do before I start modeling. And once I get a clear picture, at least something that clearer than the first time, I start to figure it out what modeling objects that I created that I needed to, and I tried to break everything down into the most basic shapes, because we're dealing with I guess a human design, like a building, a street, a lamp. It's easy to break that up into like a small into a basic object. So whether it start with the cube, it start with a rectangle, it start with a ball, a sphere, or like a cylinder, that kind of stuff. And even if you're working with nature, like rocks, which is like a very unnatural basic shape, it's always start with what is the closest basic objects that will match that specific design. So in this case, the building, obviously the cube is the closest one, and I'm using the cube to create the building. And then I'm gonna have a plane. This will be for your street pavements, or on this side here, I'm going to make a sidewalk, actually. Let's do that. Let's scale Y. X. Okay, so this is our sidewalk. Yeah, that's okay. Then I'm gonna create another mesh for the plane again. And this will be our road. So scale Y. Okay. Now it's another one. I'm gonna create another plane, and this will be our grass or anything under the soil under the building. Okay. So that's good, and the sidewalk generally a bit higher than the road. So what we want to do is we want to bring this up. Let's see, that's too high. Let's bring it down again. And if I want to go to the edit mode, which from the edit mode, we're going to face mode. And then I'll have, and let's extrude that face down to get a bit more volume in the sidewalk. Okay, so that's your sidewalk. All right, so the thing I want that's different from my other one is I'm gonna move the building a bit off center. Maybe not that far. That's good. Because if you remember my previous, the one that I already did, I have this big trees on the left side here, and I like to keep more space to put the trees on, and there's nothing here. Okay, so oh yeah, there's a stairs going to the sidewalk on my previous on the building. So I'm gonna move the building back a little bit. Okay. So for the stairs, let's start with the cube. And we want the stairs closer here and have scale Y. Bring this up. So we need about 4 steps, I think. Let's try that. Go to edit mode, and then Control R. We're going to cut and then add 1, 2, 3, and 3 should be good. Okay. And we'll go to face mode, extrude it. And then we're going to cut this again into 2. Now to delete this area here. I'm gonna delete dissolve. I'm gonna delete face, right? And then I'm going to connect them again. All right, I think that's pretty good. Okay, just have the scale X. All right, that's your stairs. Now with the building, we want a window, maybe like 2 windows on the top, 1 window at the bottom here, and then as you can see, you want the door in the front here. So let's make the stairs a bit wider, so we can make the door wider as well. So about this much should be okay. Yeah. Okay. So the next thing I want to do before we continue to start more modeling, I like to change the shading of the objects. So if I go to the top here to the right, shading, and go to Matte Cat, I'm gonna press it as random and put in world and theme's fine. So this is good because we're dealing with multiple objects, and because of that, you want to have multiple objects in different colors. That will help, you visualize what, instead of like just one gray color, it's easier like this to see like, okay, this object is separate, this object is different than that object, and you can see the shape of the model early on compared to just everything gray. So that's done. Now we go to the edit mode of the building. As you can see, there is no line. There's no edges around the building here. It's only one solid object. So what we want to do is we want to divide this at some edges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create edges around where I can extrude the objects and then make a window later on, or the door. So I'm gonna, like I said before, I'm gonna have one big window, one small windows here, one big window here, and then there's gonna be a what do you call it again? Sorry, a door. So let's have that. I don't think we need this line, so remove that to solve edges. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're going to add windows here. So open it a little bit more like that. All right, so this is gonna be the opening for our windows. Maybe this is too big. Okay, so as you can see, here we have one window, and then we're gonna add one line here for another window. Let's say not that big. That means we want to scale this stairs a bit wider as well. Okay, that's good. Now, once we have the proper design for the window, then what we want to do is we're going to face option, and then you want to extrude it back. As you can see, extrude that. Same thing here. Actually, let's just do both of them at the same time. Extrude back. And you have that. So that's going to be our window frame here. And then we're going to go to the line again. Let's create one more windows here. Okay. And then we want to have door over here. So let's have, that's too big. Let's add a line here. Okay. So you have that as a door, and that will be for your window. Go to your face mode, and then extrude. Voila! We have the building and a bunch of windows. Let's see. Object record. Okay. All right. Now, next, what we're going to do is we're going to create a window frame around this, and we're going to start putting that around. Whoops. So let's go to the object mode outside, and let's create a cube. Bring this cube up. Have the cube some way. So let's scale it Y and scale it X. There you go. So next thing we want is to get that to X. Because it's kind of to see. That's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to the wireframe mode, and we'll see that wireframe. Now we'll just get it, bring that closer. G, and then put that in front of the cavity of the window. So that will be bring this down, scale Z. GY. GY. Why are we doing that? Oops. GZ. Okay, so that's good enough. Let's now we want to have that around the edges of the window. So we're gonna go to edit mode. We're gonna add some edges. Scale it. To extrude it this way. Extrude it again. And this. And delete the face, and I'm going to connect this. Let's try the back one first. Perfect. So now you got one solid frame. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate it. And then we're going to bring it to, sorry, duplicate it. And then we're going to bring it to this side. And scale Y. My frame. Scale Y. Okay, so we have that. Now we want to, because this side here is too skinny, we want to bring closer together. I'm going to solid alpha scale Y, like that. This one is still a bit. All right, so now we have two in the frame. Awesome. Okay, so that's easy. We're just gonna duplicate, bring it down, and then put it in the front of the other window. G, Z, scale in Z axis. So I'm gonna adjust this edges here to be more consistent with the right one, with the right edges. The same thing here. Okay. So we're gonna go to all right, we got a window sills here. Now I'll just do the door frame, which is the same thing that we do with the window. Nothing fancy. Duplicate it and bring it down in Z axis. Okay, I think it's easier to just manipulate it this. G that. Oops. I see I don't get the back one there. I'm using the X-ray so I can select multiple vertex, including the back. If I don't have the X-ray, I won't be able to select all this, the one in the back here. So scale, so sorry, move it in Z-axis, bring it down. There you go. That's your window, that's your door frame. Now the one thing for Windows, how to usually you have a kind of like a divider between like either like vertical or horizontal in so people can open their window. So let's have the same thing. Let's make an object from cube, bring it up here, and then scale it in Z-axis. And then we'll bring it, scale it in X-axis. I'm going to bring it backward. And we're going to scale it in Y-axis. Scale it in X. E. And we're going to bring it back in X-axis. All right. So you have this divider between, so you can open the window up like that. Now that's done. Let's make another one. Actually, before we do that, let's make the window, the actual glass of the window. So for this one, we'll just make a simple plane. And we want to rotate that plane. Oops. We want to rotate that plane in the side view, rotate it in 90 degree. And we want to scale it in X-axis. So scale it in Y-axis. Scale it in Y-axis. And we want to bring it to, oops. We want to bring it back in X-axis. All right, and then we're gonna duplicate it. Aish, selecting the wrong object all the time. The problem when you're working with so many different software is you tend to kind of confuse the shortcut keys of, let's say, Photoshop with Blender, and that's kind of make it confusing sometimes. I wish everything is universal, but unfortunately it's not. So, okay, so let's duplicate this and bring it down in z-axis. Voila, you have window frame. I mean, glass windows. All right, so let's select this tree object here, and then we're going to duplicate it, and then we're going to bring it up z-axis, and then we're going to scale it in z-axis. Perfect. That's done. Now we're gonna select this divider, the window divider. We're gonna duplicate it, and then we're going to move it y-axis. Gonna bring it to this window here. Now for this window, I think we can either use it the same style or we can change it. I think I'm gonna keep this one the horizontal, and then I'm going to change these two windows here into a vertical opening. Okay, let's do that to make it a little bit more variety in our look. Shift D by scale Y with y-axis. All right. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. And I'm going to scale it in y-axis and scale it in z-axis to bring it down. And the same thing here. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees and then scale it in y-axis. Scale it in a little bit in z-axis. Done. There you go. Now you can do that, or you can keep it the same horizontal. This actually don't look that good. So let's keep everything horizontal instead. Let's undo this. Okay, so that's fine. Let's keep it that way. All right. So, and then one more thing that we want to create is the door. We're going to create a plane, and then we're going to the side view, and then we're going to rotate it 90 degrees. Okay, so what I do is to rotate 90 degrees. So I select the objects, I go to the side view where I want to rotate it, and then I press R, and then type 90. That's to rotate it. Or you can just rotate it normally if you want, doesn't matter. But to get a precise 90-degree rotation, you just type rotate 90 or rotate 45 degrees angle. So it doesn't matter like what angle you want to do. And then just for this case here, we want to have the door scale Z. Scale Y. Perfect. That's great. Let's bring this back. Oh, sorry. Bring it back in x-axis to be a more deeper. All right. Now, if you look at buildings in real life, you don't have sharp angle like this. This is like a really sharp. You have some kind of a curve, a smooth curve, like a bevel, and like it's just tiny little thing that can make it more realistic compared to if we just have it like this, straight cube, very sharp angle here. So what we can do is we want to add bevel. Let's make, there you go. We want to add the modification for this building and have it give some bevel in that building. So first thing we do, we want to select the building, and we want to set origin geometry, origin to geometry, so it's in the middle. And so, oops. So we want to clear all transforms. So that means, what that means is, let's do that again. Okay, so this is, if you look at, if I select this building here, you can see the locations and everything here, the numbers all different. That's because after I create the objects, I move things around to where I want it to be. Before you want to put any modifications or you want to start texturing, what you want to do is you want to clear all transform. So you want to set everything here back to original, which is like 0, and then this 1, the scale into 1. So in order to do that, we want to apply Control A, all transform. See, everything's reset into 0 and 1. And that's, it's just to, if you don't clear your transform, whenever you add modification or textures, it become really wonky, I guess, right? Because you stretch it, you make it wider and everything. So especially in texturing, when you unwrap your model, you're gonna have this, you're gonna have some part of the textures being stretched. But if you look at the model, it looks fine. But why is the texture stretched? It's because you have the transform of different numbers, and that's make it really complicated for the computer to calculate everything uniformly. So in order for the Blender to calculate all the textures and then everything look normal or uniform, you have to reset everything into a 0 after you finish modeling it. So that's what I do here. And then, okay, you know what? Maybe I can just show it to you right away. Let's just go back. So as you can see, and then if I want to make add some modification like a bevel, right? So that's actually not too bad. It's not too bad, but generally is it can mess up your modifications if you don't transform, if you don't clear the transform. So before that, I don't want that to happen. So I just always clear the transform and then add the modification, and to get the proper uniform look of them when I modify. So this is a bevel. So you want the edges to have a little bit of a bevel there, as you can see there, and I want to have it more curved. So I'm gonna add some segment. It looks kind of pixely here. So what you want to do is you click the object, right click, and then shade smooth. There you go. There, you get a smooth angle. So it's not entirely sharp angle there. And what I want to do is I'm going to do the same thing here. And then I'm going to add another bevel. This is a modifier. You can find it here. Add bevel. Too much. So we want to bring it down closer. That's more segment. And then shade smooth. You can see is looks much better instead of sharp angle. You can see in here it's got more curve. All right, I'm going to do the same thing with all the other objects that we created today, and all transforms, split, everything, transforms. Just add modifier, bevel. Shade smooth. All right. Same thing, last one, bevel. I usually don't do this when I'm finished modeling everything, but to finish up this part of the workshop, we'll just do a little quick detailing of the object. All right, that's it. Just bring this out a little bit. All right, there you go. You have your building. Now, we'll continue modeling next Saturday, and yeah, you can start working alongside with me, and either you can start working modeling the building, and we'll do more finishing touch on the building next week, and then we make model the fence, and then lastly the tree. Believe it or not, the tree will be the easiest to model. I'll tell you why next time. All right. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys next Saturday.
Perfect. Thanks, Leon. No, Fantastic. Um, let's see, I'm just getting a feedback here. Perfect. Yeah, no, so if you have any questions, if I have the chat window here, and yeah, you can send me. I put my email up, so if you have any questions, you can just send me an email. We can talk about any questions you have. As I said, you can rewatch these sessions, on our links after as well. So you can check out the sessions and rewatch them. So this Vimeo link you can rewatch for each week. So they stay there, they're archived, and you can definitely check it out. So yeah, I just want to thank all our project partners on this. So we have the Canadian Council for the Arts, and we have our library partners, Blue Mountains Public Library, Collingwood Public Library, Wasaga Beach Public Library. Thanks again for joining us. And like I said, please rewatch and send me any questions you have. You can send my way. I'll get them over to Leon, and then we'll start some more. I'm sure there's going to be more and more questions building up as we get into each week. But if you can rewatch and give this building, get the building constructed and see what you come up with. And remember, it's creativity. You can go however you want to, but try to follow along as we go. And I think that'll be the great thing, is that you'll have a final scene created with Leon by the end of it. So thanks again, everyone, for joining us, and we'll see you again. So next Saturday is week 2, so we have 4 weeks total. Every Saturday, 11 a.m. So be sure to get tickets for the next events, and that way it'll keep reminding you to come into it week after week, and you won't miss out. And it's all available. If you get 1 week, you'll see the other week's login ticket links are there to the event link, so you won't miss anything. So thanks again. Have a great rest of the day, and be sure to rewatch and send us questions, and we'll see you next Saturday, 11 o'clock. Take care.